Hello and welcome to Critical Penetrator. Today we are going to take a look at how to start playing Dropfleet Commander in 2026. This is a brilliant sci-fi war game. It's having a lot of traction online at the moment because they have just announced that they're going to be on My Mini Factory, and so people with 3D printers are rejoicing that they're going to be able to potentially 3D print some nice new ships to play this game with. Also, the last 3 or 4 weeks, I've been seeing an absolute ton of questions on social media, Reddit and places like that from new players on how to get into this game, what to buy, and if they've bought things, what ships to build, because it is not, I would say it's not intuitive. They don't handhold you and tell you what specific things that you need to be buying. So yeah, this video today is going to be a rough overview of how do you get into this game? What do you need to buy? What should you build? I will do individual faction breakdowns in the coming weeks because I think they are also needed, as not all factions play in the same way. And when we come to those, the Shaltari and the Bioficers, we'll have a good look at the factions, and we'll just pick out some key things that you need to know about them going forward. So this video is a generic overview. We will touch on some of the bits that are more finicky, but just generically, this is what you're going to be needing to do. So first things first is, once you've chosen the faction that you like the look of the best, you're going to want to have a look at the core box. So there's 2 ways to do this. There's a core ship box. So if you play one of the factions not in the starter sets, which is the PHR, the Scourge, and the Shaltari, you're going to want to look at picking up a core ship box, which looks like this. This will give you 3 cruisers and 6 frigates, and will be a perfect place for you to start off your Dropfleet Commander journey. This comes to about £40 from third-party retailers here in the UK. I think it's 45 from TT Combat, and you can pick them up relatively easy. If you're interested in the UCM, the Bioficers, or in the Resistance, then these boxes are probably going to be more beneficial to you in the long run, as this is going to give you everything you will need really to start playing the game. You can find all of this stuff online as a print and play, but it's quite nice sometimes just to have the card stuff you don't need to worry about. I mean, who's got a printer, right? We're in 2026, so yeah. The starter box is great. We're talking about the core box with the UCM and the Bioficers. You're going to get a cool rulebook, which is a nice physical thing to have. To mention here is that the core book is actually free online as a free PDF. You don't need to buy it at all. And it is updated. It is a living document, essentially. There are things that change within the core book. And each faction's PDF is also going to be found online. This is all free. You're not going to need to pay any money to access these things, which means you can have a good look around, good look at all of the factions, have a little look at all the ships. There's pictures of every single ship within the PDFs. And so you can identify them and figure out, which ones you like the look of, which ones look cool for you. The best way to choose in this game is rule of cool. However, there are some things that you do actually really need to have within your armies, within your fleets, and that is ships that can drop troops. There's lots of different types of ship in Dropfleet Commander, and the most common type of thing is going to be dropping your troops onto drop sites, which is effectively how you score points in the game, are going to be cruisers and frigates. There are other outliers like the Shaltari with the Void Gates, but we'll talk about them properly towards the end of the video. So from your core box, it is advisable, depending on your faction, but advisable to build at least 1 cruiser, which is a ship which is able to drop troops. Now, with the Shaltari, you're going to want something like the Emerald or the Citrine, and that's not necessarily going to drop the troops for you. You're also going to need Void Gates. However, you still need the Citrine or the Emerald to be able to initiate the drop. So that's something that's worth looking at. Additionally, there are frigates within some of the factions that can drop troops as well. And this is kind of good to have as a little backup, because if you only have one ship that can drop, you're kind of putting all your eggs in one basket. And so I would advise from the core box, you build 1 cruiser and 2 frigates as ship classes that can drop troops. Now, the rest of the box is quite simply up to you. We're going to go through in the faction guides what to build from each of the factions core boxes, but if you've just picked it up, you're sitting here watching this video and you've built a cruiser that's a drop cruiser, you've built a frigate that's a drop frigate. I mean, build what you like, you know, like, so that's why we're doing this, right? We're doing this because it's fun. It doesn't particularly matter. There's no wrong things to build, because within Dropfleet Commander, there's quite a lot of different ways to build your fleets. There's quite a lot of different ways to do things. And if you build, say, for the UCM, the Vilnius, and it's got a lot of guns on, and you know, that's one of your main damage dealers within your force, perhaps then you can build the Jakarta, which is then going to, you know, try and stop that ship being blown up by bombers. Or maybe you don't care about bombers and you think, oh, well, I'd rather have some of the stealth drop ships, which are going to, you know, help me glide in unawares to the opponent and drop more stuff on the, you know, there's lots of play within the PDFs, and there's what I'm trying to explain is there's lots of different ways to be able to do this. It can become really complicated, actually. It can become a very interesting list building game, and so what we're trying to do is just set out a core principle of what you need to do. So building then from the core ship box, the next purchase is really dependent on where you want to take your fleet. Now, if you're a veteran player and you're watching this and you're thinking, oh God, you know, you must tell them this, or you must build these ships from the core box, tell us down in the comments, please. We want to have conversations with people, and we want to help out people who are new to the game. And it's equally as important for new players. Post your comments of what you need help with underneath this video, and myself or someone else will give you some advice to be able to help you out. I only play as 2 factions within the game. I'd really like to play as Bioficers as well in the future, so I can only really speak for the PHR and the Shaltari with a good degree of knowledge, whereas there's going to be lots of people who play the UCN, the Resistance, that can help you out. And so yeah, let us know in the comments, please. Have some conversations about this. It's just healthy for the community. So the next purchase is then, once you have built a core ships box, you kind of want to buy something that's fun, right? You kind of want to buy something where you're going to be like, oh man, I just really want a battleship, or I just really want a dreadnought or something. And it's really tempting to buy these things now. The dreadnought as a second purchase I would avoid, unless you just want to build and paint one so desperately, and in which case go for it. But I would avoid it for now. And I would buy something like one of the new battle cruiser boxes, like this one. They are still being released, and so currently we're waiting for 3 of the factions to have theirs released. So that might not be available for you right now. The battleships, however, for all factions are out, and they are really nice plastic kits. I own 2 of the PHR ones. I own 2 of the Shaltari ones. In fact, I've actually got one of them sitting here just on my desk. They're just really nice kits. They're so nice, really well made, absolute joy to build and paint. So if you're looking for something cool, there's so many different variants of ships you can build out of these as well. You know, around 10 or so for each faction, and it all just comes on that one sprue. So it is quite a joy to build them. Once you have kind of got this far into the video, you might notice that there are battle fleets that you can buy, which contain all of this stuff. You've got your core ships, you've got a battleship, you've got some light ship sprues, and you've got some assets within these. Now, if you know straight away from the start, oh, I'm going to be getting into this game, and I know that I'm not going to regret it, then that is a fantastic purchase. However, once you've had that first box of core ships and you're looking around and you think, yeah, I do want a battleship, but I also know that I need to get some more core as well because I need more medium ships. This is the time now to buy this. And I think that this is a great purchase because you're essentially adding another box of core ships, which bulks out your cruisers. You can then start to look at the light ship sprues for each of the factions and be picking up things which are, starting to build out options within your fleets. It's common to play at 1500 points for this game, and it's also common in tournaments to take 2 lists and choose one before each game. And so having a level of redundancy within the stuff you have and being able to create different lists for different missions is part of the game. So yeah, at this point in time is when I'd make the big purchase and purchase the I think it's £85 from Firestorm Games, the big Battlefleet boxes. So, okay, we've come this far now. You've picked up your core ships, you've picked up the Battlefleet box, or perhaps a nice cool ship, and you're on the way. You know, you builded your army. You're at about 1,000, maybe even 1,500 points, and you're just now buying stuff because you're in the game. You played a few games and you're getting on with things. What are things now to purchase? Because there's always nice to have things, isn't there? And that's now when I would start looking at the assets. You've already picked up the Battlefleet box, then you've already got the assets. However, one lot of the assets doesn't quite seem to be enough for me. Maybe it's because I quite often play as a PHR and a lot of their stuff has 2 torpedoes rather than 1. So if I want to have 2 torpedoes at the same time flying around the board, I need more than 1 set of assets. So yes, this is when I pick up the assets. They do have faction-specific assets, which are now varying types. So, for example, for the Shaltari and the Resistance, they also have fire ships now. They've got the mines, so you've got the Shaltari Impel mines and stuff now. The UCM has a set of just purely torpedoes, and pretty cool, like that, because the UCM do have the medium torpedoes, which are absolutely brutal, and so that's quite an interesting thing to have. So yeah, just have a little look around of what's on the website. They haven't released currently all of the factions' assets, and sorry, not assets. I guess they're still assets. The additional assets I'm talking about, so the fire ships, the mines, etc., for all the factions. Additionally, as well, you have brand new things, the hero ships. These are extremely cool. It's essentially a character. So if you're familiar with something like Warhammer, and you've got perhaps, I don't know, Marneus, Calgar, whoever, that is your hero ships. Now, they aren't going to be the massive big bads, I don't think, of the game. I think they're just little flavourful things, or the ones that have come out so far have been destroyer or perhaps cruiser type ships, and they seem really, really cool. The Resistance one I've seen painted up online by several different people now, and that is a really cool looking vessel. It's obviously very thematic and fun in the game. They recently have just released this guy, who is the Bioficer. Looks really cool. Whoever painted it, they've done a great job to differentiate from the other Bioficer ships and still keep within the same colour palette. So I do quite enjoy that. So this is where I pick up one of these hero ships, just for fun purchases, and things you want to get. So okay, that's the basic overview, really. If you've come this far in the video, thank you very much. I'm going to be releasing several other faction overview videos. Really, we're going to try and do 1 a week. Maybe I'll put out 1 a week or 2 a week, something like this. And yeah, then we'll go from there. So thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.